guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Denise and I like to make videos about astrology in real life. Also, I put out videos every single week, so if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, if you want to hear about astrology every single week, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. So today we're going to be doing the dark side of Capricorn. I've been doing all of the signs and today we finally got to Capricorn. So Capricorn's dark side is really what I like to call being a little bit Scroogey. It's being a little bit negative, being a little bit stingy, being too careful, being too voracious about money. All of that is the dark side of Capricorn. So we're going to be looking at two figures. One of them is like the main figure, is going to be like the meat or the meatless protein alternative. And the other one's going to be our side dish. Richard Dawkins is going to be our side dish. And even though he's not officially a Capricorn, you'll see why he is such a Scroogey figure once we get into the video. So let's get into it. Capricorn is known for being hardworking and methodical, and the earth signs very much care a lot about material security. It's not that they want money in order to show off or feel like they're better than other people. The earth signs just want to feel safe. Earth is meant to make you feel safe. And because money is the way that we make purchases that make us feel safe, that is why the earth signs are very much, they gravitate towards money. So for the earth signs, really money is just what makes them feel rooted into the earth, into the ground, tangible reality. So that is why they are so money oriented. But Capricorn takes this to the highest level because it is the last earth sign. So they take this need for material safety so far that they can really work towards total financial dominance. And they won't feel safe unless they are at the very top and there's nobody next to them and they feel that they have absolutely everything, and even then they're still going to be Scroogey. It produces a lot of anxiety if they don't feel that they're at the very top, that there's somebody who can topple them over. That's why they really feel like that's where they have to get. That is the goal, to be absolutely at the very top and they have nobody to compete with. That is the ultimate goal of a Capricorn person who has gone too far in the direction of the darkness, okay? So that need for security is really accompanied by a very sober mentality. Capricorn is they're very practical and they're focused on facts and figures and things that they could see. They're not really thinking about, oh, your dreams and your fantasies and all of that doesn't really matter to Capricorn. They're really focused on survival, okay? So the things that matter and just that are very practical and that you need for survival. They don't have time to spend up in the clouds, okay? So they're focused on things that are tangible and real. And when you take this to an extreme, this obsessive need for practicality can make Capricorn callous and even negative because they are so discriminating that they just take the joy out of everything. My friend likes to say that she's just like, no one can take the magic out of something more than a Capricorn can or a Saturn person can, because they are just focused on reality. What's real? What do you need? What do you not need? What do you need to survive? You need food, you need shelter. That is Capricorn, okay? So they are focused so much on simply surviving that they could forget life's magic. They can forget the moments that bring us joy and that lift us up. So Capricorn, when they're too much focused on that dark side, they are really, it's like they're living from the root chakra. You know, the root chakra is what really is our instinct for survival. And if you're just living from that instinct, you're not activating any of the higher chakras or the higher parts of yourself, of your being. You're not dreaming, you're not expressing, you're not loving. You're just focused on surviving. And that would be the most extreme version of Capricorn energy. And if you analyze that a bit, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn rules death. Traditionally, it was just Saturn that ruled death. You know, with the sickle, you know, like the Grim Reaper, that sickle was meant to, you know, harvest the lives and harvest people's lives, essentially, and pick you up and you get back whatever it is that you put into your life. So it is almost like Capricorn is really just working from a place of having a very extreme death aversion. So they're collecting all of these things, all of this money in order to feel safe so that death doesn't come get them. So that if they get sick, they have money to pay for medicine. They have money to go to the doctor. All of these things are the things that a Capricorn that has gone to the extreme is thinking about and really focused on. So I found two pretty good examples. First, I'm going to talk about Jeff Bezos, who has he's like the obvious Scroogey character, even though I like him. I think he's an admirable person. So it was really hard for me to, push him towards the dark side, but I'm sure there are other, namely probably Aquarius people that are going to be like, Denise, he needs to donate more money to charity. We'll get into that. So Jeff Bezos has a Capricorn stellium, and he has, we'll see. Well, Saturn is very importantly placed in his chart, so we'll see. Okay, so we're going to talk about his total financial domination, the rise of Amazon, and then I'll just close off with Richard Dawkins, who is just such a Scrooge character. He's just like an insufferable party pooper, and that is what can happen when you take Capricorn to an extreme. They're just so negative, and they can't they don't have fun because they're so like uptight and worried about surviving. And if somebody else is having fun, if somebody else is having a dream, they're like, no, that's wrong. And that is ultimately Richard Dawkins with his like whole annoyingly atheist thing. So we'll get into that. So let's talk briefly about Bezos' life. He was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico to a teen mother. I found that surprising. She was 17 and in high school when he was born, and his dad was a bike shop owner. And it's not really specified whether she was like really poor or anything. I don't think that she was, because he had like family who were like ranch owners in Texas, and they had property, and her dad worked for some like big company. So it's not like she was really poor or anything, but nonetheless, he does come from, a teen mom. His mom was a teenager when she had him. She was married to her dad. She was married to his dad, and they divorced when he was 4 years old. And when he was 4 years old, his stepdad adopts him. She gets remarried to Mike Bezos, who worked as an engineer in Exxon in Houston, Texas. And I really feel that, his stepdad ended up being a positive influence for him, because it kind of like sets up his future. And I think that whenever you have a certain energy in your chart and you have an adult that you can see who is embodying that in a positive way, you will just take off with it in a good way. I really feel that is very true. So let's just say you have you're artistic yourself, but you don't have any artistic people around you, then it might be more difficult for you to hone that or bring it out of yourself. But if you have just a little tiny bit and you see it around you, then you'll be able to more easily bring it out. So I think that it was positive for him. So before we look at his chart, let's just think of his image. What is Capricorn known for? Capricorn is known for prudence, self-control, and responsibility. So it is said that, I'm going to list my sources, but it's basically Wikipedia, guys. I'm going to tell you, I got this from Wikipedia. It is said that in the 90s, he built his reputation for relentlessly pushing Amazon forward. And he was known for being pretty like stingy, He was stingy with his money and with Amazon's money. He wouldn't just spend it on anything. He was pushing Amazon forward relentlessly at the expense of public charity and social welfare. I don't know exactly what that means, but I think the main message is that he wasn't very generous with Amazon's money when he was first building it up. He was seen as prudent with the wealth of his company as well as his own. And he drove a 1996 Honda Accord, and he hung his clothes in the Amazon headquarters. Like, he just had a rack, and that's where he would hang his clothes, and he would show up like with his little Honda Accord while he was building this multi-million-dollar company. He was very, very, Scroogey with his money when he was building it, like a little goat, very carefully climbing his mountain. When people talk about him, somebody said about him, he says that he talks in lists, and he enumerates criteria in order of importance for every decision he has ever made. And that is just very Capricorn. He has Mercury in Capricorn. So when somebody has Mercury in Capricorn, the way that they think of things is in order of importance and in order of whatever is going to get them the best dividends quicker. That is how Capricorn thinks. He also has this way of thinking, and he talks about how he lives his life based on regrets and the things that he doesn't want to regret. That's like part of his life philosophy. So about this, he said, when I'm 80, am I going to regret leaving Wall Street? No. Will I regret missing the beginning of the internet? Yes. To me, that is very Aquarius. He has Saturn and Venus in Aquarius. And as I've talked about on this channel, Aquarius is always looking towards the future. And if you analyze that statement, I'm going to put it so you can look at it. Is he going to regret leaving Wall Street? Wall Street is the past. Wall Street has been here. Wall Street has been successful, but he has Saturn in Aquarius. He has important Aquarius energy. So Aquarius is forward thinking. He's like, I'm going to regret not joining the internet faster, because Aquarius always wants to be the first to spot trends. So he's just like, he missed the beginning of the internet and he regrets that. That's very Aquarius. And you know, it depicts it in his chart. And first he was careful and very, you know, tight with his money and Amazon's money. But there appears to be a transformation. As he made more money, it's almost like he represented the company itself. And as the company was rising, he was kind of like growing into the prominence of the company itself. So once the company grew, he himself, you know, he started putting on muscle, he started dressing in tailored suits and spending more money. But, you know, like it was noticed when he was very stingy with his money, and then they noticed when he started spending more of his money. So he's been criticized nonetheless. And he's also been criticized for being one of the least charitable CEOs. And Business Insider reported that Bezos was the only one of the top 5 billionaires in the world who had not signed the Giving Pledge, an initiative created by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett that encourages wealthy people to give away a majority of their wealth. He was like, no, I'm not signing that. I think that Bill Gates was just rich for a really long time and he was kind of over it. And Bezos was like, bro, I just got this money, leave me alone. Like he did not want to do that. But let's look at his chart. Okay, so he has that Capricorn stellium. And remember that a stellium is a concentration of 3 or more planets. So he has that Capricorn stellium, and that Capricorn stellium is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius. And Saturn is in domicile. It's at home in Aquarius. So what that means is that those two pockets of energy, that Capricorn and that Aquarius, are going to be working together. But not only that, but Saturn is the final dispositor for this chart. And the final dispositor is essentially the planet that gets final say on everything. And whenever you have a chart that has one final dispositor, that it's not just a group of planets going back and forth with each other, that planet ends up being very important to the person. It ends up being like a part of their energy signature that they're recognized for. So it's not surprising that Jeff Bezos is known for his Saturnian nature. And then you have the moon in Sagittarius, which needs a lot of freedom. He doesn't like to be told what to do. That is probably another one of the reasons why they were just like, we want to cap how much money you can make. You want to, no, he is always fighting to have freedom. And you might be like, Denise, but that freedom is very like, it's just about money. Why does he care so much about money? Guys, look at his chart. He has all that Capricorn energy. It's very important to him. So it makes sense. And especially with Saturn being the final dispositor. So all his personal planets are in transpersonal signs. If you look at it, it's all his personal planets. They're focused on just expansion, growth, and doing just great big things. And it is said that in his valedictorian speech, he talked about space as being his ultimate goal when he grew up, you know, when he was like a little 18-year-old. He said that he wanted to build colonies for people who were in orbit, and that he wanted to make amusement parks and hotels and to kind of keep the earth as like a preserve, like a wildlife reserve. And he wanted to save the earth from resource depletion and really focus on, you know, being out there in space and, you know, save the earth from all that was happening, being depleted, you know, of its resources. And I think that is very interesting considering Amazon and what Amazon does, you know, the carbon emissions that are produced because of all of in boxes that we get shipped to our houses each day. So, you know, I'm not a hypocrite. I buy from Amazon, so I'm not talking shit right now at all. But nonetheless, I think it's very interesting that he had this goal and he had verbalized this. You know, I hear his Aquarius talking whenever he made that speech. I hear the Aquarius. And it really seems that, you know, he went to that Capricorn dark side, and that is what is really keeping him from achieving those dreams that he had as an 18-year-old kid. So look at that Venus, you know, he has that Venus in Aquarius and he's drawn to space. He even has like a space company, you know, like SpaceX, but it's called like Blue Orbit or Blue something blue. I didn't really care that much to like include it, but he is very much it's very interesting that all those super rich dudes, they are really focused on space. It's because they are forward thinking, and people who are forward thinking are the first to come to trends, you know. And it is very interesting because when he started Amazon, the company was just, they just sold books. And it was like, who would have thought that this company who just sold books would end up making him the richest man in the world, the richest man ever. So it's like mind-blowing, okay? But that forward-thinking nature is coming from Aquarius. So as you can see, I think that Bezos is pretty much just a Capricorn king. And the thing that really puts him on the dark side would be that he hasn't accomplished that 18-year-old dream that he had as valedictorian, where he said that he was gonna work towards preserving the earth and really moving people into outer space. It seems that with all the money that he has, he could figure it out. Like, you know, he could hire people, they could be working on this. I don't know, for all I know, he is working on this now. But I also understand the reason why he is so focused on money and obtaining wealth. He does pay people $15 an hour now. So it does seem that after all of this, you know, people were criticizing him for not being more charitable. He did, you know, raise the wage of people who work for Amazon to $15. So it does seem that he's like pushing for that $15 living wage agenda. But the dark side of him really is that he hasn't, with all the money that he has and all that he's done, he doesn't seem to be working significantly towards that dream of preserving the earth. You know, maybe he has a more long-term goal and he's like, once I reach this much money, then I'll do it. But I don't know. It is possible that he just went to the dark side of Capricorn and that's just really where he's going to stay. So it's hard to tell. But now we're just gonna really quickly, just because I have to absolutely talk about this guy because he gets on my nerves, Richard Dawkins, okay? So he just has Mars in Capricorn. He has Mars in Capricorn, and Capricorn is exalted in Mars. No, wait. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and he's an Aries sun. So that Aries sun makes him very outspoken, and Aries energy is very much about imposing itself on the world and imposing itself with its ideas. And it really seems that if you read his literature, if you read the things that he has to say, it is very much very Saturny and very Capricorny. And just read this quote. Much as we might wish to believe otherwise, universal love and the welfare of the species as a whole are concepts which simply do not make evolutionary sense. Richard Dawkins. And you might be like, Denise, but he has a Pisces moon. How can he be that way? Well, look at his chart. He has that Neptune opposing the moon. And let me pop up his chart because I actually don't have it here. Yeah, he has that Neptune that is opposing that Venus in Pisces, that moon in Pisces, that Mercury in Pisces. Think of all of the things that he has in Pisces and think about the statement. You know, welfare for humanity, universal love and welfare. Universal love and welfare, that is so Pisces. That is so Pisces. So why is it that he insists so much on being like, no, God isn't real and people are delusional if they believe in God? And he wrote this book, The God Delusion. You know, I have it in my audiobook library. So why is it that he's so intent on this? And I read an article talking about how sometimes our oppositions, like if we have strong oppositions, they could end up being like the reason why we stand up for certain things. So you know how there's people that will be like so against gay rights and they're just like, no, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And they're like so adamant and they're so vocal about it and they're out there, you know, fighting for what they believe in. And we're just like, why is this person so adamant? Why do they care what other people are doing? And the article basically said that it was because of that opposition with Neptune. So what you do, I've always known this about oppositions, is that you can have a tendency to project whatever it is that you're opposing onto other people. So it's that what he's projecting onto the world is that Neptune, that dreamy side of Neptune. So he's just like, everybody else is deluded, but not me. I'm really with it. I'm really logical. And I think that I think it's that fact that that Jupiter and that Saturn are in Taurus, and Taurus has really strong values and they're very stubborn about the things that they believe in. So all of that Jupiter rules all those Pisces things. So it could be a little bit of the stubbornness from Taurus and from being very self-righteous. Taurus can be self-righteous. because they have very strong beliefs and they're just like, no, this is it and nothing else matters. It could also be that Capricorn Mars that rules his Aries sun and he feels the need to be so vocal about his beliefs. So that's the video for today, guys. What did you think? What do you think about Bezos? What did you think about Richard Dawkins? Do you have any like dark Capricorn traits that you want to share in the comments? I will say I'm guilty of, I'm a rising Capricorn, and I find it very difficult to like talk smack about my boy Bezos because he's got a Sagittarius moon, I have a Sagittarius moon, and the guy should be free to make as much money as he wants. Would it be cool if he change the world with his money? Yeah, it would be cool. Would I try to change the world with my money? Yeah, I would try, but we don't know what it's like to be that rich, guys. We don't know what we would do. And I do know that you can't tell a Sagittarius person what to do. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the video. And thank you so much for being here and listening to me talk about astrology. Don't forget to smash that like button for good luck. And I will see you in the next video.